Good afternoon everybody and welcome to Herrenbrook Farm Kitchen. It is fantastic to have you here as always, and today we're going to be making sourdough part 3, the seedy one. So you might be thinking, hey, Herrenbrook Farm Kitchen, didn't you already do sourdough? Yes, we did. You'll remember in part 1, we started by making a rye sourdough, and on that one we took you through the whole process of making the starter from scratch and making your first sourdough. Then we made a plain white one. That was awesome, it was delicious, it was very, very simple. We're kind of rounding it out now with part 3, where we're putting all of that into practice and making this amazing seeded sourdough. It smells incredible, it looks beautiful, it's a really impressive loaf. You're going to absolutely love it, your family's going to absolutely love it. You genuinely can make this at home just by following along with the simple recipe. We've got some great tricks in here, how to boost the flavour of the seeds by pre-roasting them. We use a slightly different technique for the baking. We're going to use a baking stone just so that you can see what a difference that makes to the bake. So you're going to love it. Let's jump in and look at the ingredients. Okay, so let's talk about the ingredients for this amazing seeded sourdough. You're going to need your sourdough starter, of course, 200 grams of that, and the seeds. We've got 100 grams of seeds here. This is a mix. There's some sunflower, there's some linseed, some pumpkin seeds, some sesame seeds, and I think even some poppy seeds in there. So 100 grams of seeds. We've got 350 grams of strong white baking flour and 150 grams of wholemeal flour, 300 grams of water and 12 grams of salt. You are actually going to need another 60 grams of water just to cool the seeds down once you've baked those, because we're going to bake them first, but we'll get onto that in a moment. So that's all of the ingredients. Let's jump in and get these seeds toasted. Okay, so I'm going to let you in on the most amazing baking secret, and that is the secret of pre-toasting the seeds that you put in any loaf that you do. The problem is if the seeds are all buried inside when you come to bake the loaf, they don't get the benefit of the heat, so they lose some of that incredible flavour that you get from toasted seeds. So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to toast these seeds before we even put them in the dough. Very straightforward to do. We've got the seeds here, just spread them out on this baking sheet. I have put a little bit of baking parchment down on here, which you can probably see. The only reason I do that is that just makes it easier to get the seeds out at the end. The oven's running, as you can probably hear, it's preheated to 200 degrees. I'm just going to get these straight in. Middle of the oven, 5 minutes, and then they're done. Okay, that's it, timer's gone off, get the gloves on. Turn the oven off now. You really don't want to let these go over because it's very easy for them to burn. So all we do now is I've got in the bowl here 60 grams of water, and I'm just carefully going to pick the seeds up using that bit of baking parchment, and I am going to pour them in carefully into that water, which cools them down immediately, and I'm just going to stir them around with a spatula. Make sure that they're all covered in the water, like that. And that's it, and we're going to leave these seeds to one side for about an hour just to cool down, and then we'll put them straight in the dough. So I'll see you in an hour. Okay, so let's get the dough combined. I have weighed out 200 grams of the starter straight into the bowl of the stand mixer. I'm going to go in with the white flour on top of that, then all of the brown flour, and then the salt, and we'll just give that a little stir up with the spatula just to distribute the salt, and then we're going to go in with all of these seeds which have slightly cooled down. You possibly didn't notice, but they've absorbed all of the water. There we go, beautiful. And then finally all of the water on top, and then like pretty much every other bread recipe, over to the stand mixer. I'm going to bring it all together on a slow speed and then increase the speed and I'm going to knead it at a medium fast speed for about 9 minutes, and then we'll get it turned out into a bowl. So you can see that's come together beautifully now. I'm just going to give the sides a bit of a scrape down, and we'll increase the speed. And as you can see, when it starts off the kneading, it's still stuck to the bottom of the bowl, still sticking slightly to the sides, but as the gluten develops, it'll all pull away and clump up in the middle. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still going to be a very sticky dough that will stick to your fingers, but it will all eventually clump together. Okay, time has just gone off. We'll get it off the mixer. It smells amazing. You've got those sourdough flavours coupled with the roasted seeds. It just smells fantastic. You see how the gluten has developed and it's all very stringy. I will tell you, this is extremely sticky. I'm not even going to attempt to turn this out onto the table. This is going straight in the bowl, and all we'll do is just tidy it up a little bit. Okay, we're all done. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cover this with cling film. It's going to sit on that work surface overnight, and then tomorrow morning we'll get it out, shape it, and get it in the banneton. I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, welcome back. As you can see, we've had a pretty impressive rise overnight. It's looking absolutely wonderful. So I'm just going to get it turned out now. Get a bit of flour down, probably quite a bit of flour. It will be quite sticky, just one of my scrapers. Okay, let's get the cling film off. And we'll get this scraped out. Beautiful, airy, bubbly. It smells absolutely amazing. Even after all night proving, you can still smell those toasted seeds. There we go, rid of that. And then just using the scraper, we're just bringing it into a ball, and then we can start working it with the hand and get it nicely shaped up. There we go. And now bring it into a full circle. And we want to make sure we've got plenty of flour on this. Get flour on my hands. There we go, absolutely lovely. I'm just going to get a bit more flour on top, because we certainly don't want it sticking. There we are, and we just get it into the banneton nice and gently. The banneton here, just a cane banneton, I've lined this with rye flour as normal. I don't know why, a lot of people say rice flour. I quite like rye flour, it seems to work. So we're going to leave this to prove probably for 3 or 4 hours, just on the side there in a moderately warm kitchen, covered with a baking cloth. So I'll see you in a couple of hours when we're ready to turn it out and get it baked. Okay, so we're back. It's probably slightly overproved, if I'm honest with you. I have had a sneak look myself. Look at the size of that bad boy. The oven's preheating, 330 degrees, and I've put a baking stone in, just to show you a slightly different technique. We normally don't bother with a baking stone. We've only got one, and we don't use it very often. But just to show you that slightly different technique, I'm going to use a baking stone. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn out this sourdough, it's very, very delicate, onto one of these. This is actually a pizza plate that we use in the pizza oven, but it's actually quite a nice size, and because it's quite thin aluminium, the heat from the baking stone is going to go straight through this into the bread and hopefully give it a really good kick up. So I'm going to attempt to turn this out onto here. It may go well, it may go badly, we shall see in a moment. And I'm just going to get my lame ready to make the cuts. Okay, so let's get it turned out onto this pizza thing. And in fact, I'm going to do it slightly differently to normal. I'm actually going to flip it over because it has slightly overproved. And we're a little bit stuck, look at that, beautiful. So what am I going to do today? I think we'll give it 3 cuts. In fact, we'll give it 4. There we go, so let's get that straight in the oven. So in we go, give it a hit of steam, and we'll turn it down to 210, and then we'll just give it a second hit of steam once that cycle is finished. Now, if you don't have steam injection, most people don't have steam injection at home. Instead of hitting the steam injection button, you can just get a spray bottle and spray that into the oven. Even if it's an electric oven, you're not going to affect it, and you get a load of lovely steam in there. So we are going to leave this at 210 for 5 minutes, then we'll turn it down to 200 degrees for 25 minutes, 30 minutes baking in total, then we'll get it out and have a look. See you shortly. Okay, timer's just gone off, let's get it out. Woo! Look at that. What a phenomenal loaf, absolutely beautiful. So a beautiful rise, a lovely loaf. The smell in here is just amazing. You've got freshly baked sourdough bread and then the smell of the roasted seeds. We're going to leave it on the cooling rack to cool down. It's a big loaf, it's going to take an hour or two for this to be completely cold, and then we will slice into it and we will take a look. I'll see you in an hour or two. Okay, so 2 hours has passed, it's cooled right down, it's completely cool now. What a beautiful loaf this is, looks amazing. So let's cut into it and take a look inside. Beautiful, crisp, crunchy exterior, and look at that, beautiful sourdough, classic uneven bubble, lots of seeds, the smell is incredible. Let's cut that right open like that. That is one amazing loaf. The smell is incredible, the flavour of the seeds really pops. You're going to absolutely love this one. So I hope you've enjoyed following along with us on Sourdough Part 3, the seedy one. It's certainly seedy, it's absolutely packed full of flavour from the wholemeal, from the sourdough and from those seeds. I hope you have a great rest of your day and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.